perfect. Yeah, you walk that walk, watch the muscle pop. You're so picture perfect.
Welcome back, everybody. And on this episode of Bravo Tea with the Stay-at-Home Mom, we're going to be recapping The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and part 2 of The Real Housewives of New York Reunion. And let me tell you, I'm glad that New York is over with, just to be blatantly honest. Maybe we'll kick it off with that, and then we'll finish with Beverly Hills. Usually I like to do Beverly Hills first since it's like on TV first, but we'll do the reunion first because I actually watched it a day late and I watched this before I watched Beverly Hills. So I'll do it like in chronological order that I watched it. The fact that Brynn can barely apologize for saying what she said about Jessel and Pavitt speaks volumes that we know she's never going to change her ways. So I really don't know how they will keep treading forward with this cast, because it's like, are you going to fake pretend to be Brynn's friend now, Jessel, for the sake of filming? I don't want that. I want a real group of friends, because that's how at least these shows do start off. I'm not saying seasons down the line, we then get like a hodgepodge mixture of people that suddenly aren't even friends anymore, or they like kind of know someone who's twice removed, who saw their cousin one time in a store and is now on the show. I feel like that is how some of them are right now. But can we find a real friend group in New York? Because these ladies aren't it. Or pick like one person from this cast and find their real friends. I don't know. And like if their real friends don't want to be on the show, then find other people. It's so annoying seeing Brynn put on the waterworks. And that's what Sai says later. She's like, Brynn should be winning an Oscar for this performance. I've never seen so many performative tears, because I feel like that's the get out of jail free card, is let me just start crying and everyone won't be mad at me anymore. So Jessel, like it kind of picked up from when she was just explaining that she had to like explain to Pavitt that that's not really what she said. She said that the craziest hookup was some guy, not the love of her life was some guy. And she said Pavitt and her had a lot of trust in the relationship, but now he's like, oh, where are you going? Who are you going to be with? And I feel bad because Jessel's really pretty. And now that she's on TV, maybe Pavitt is like, oh my God, she's going to cheat on me and leave me because I look like Dory from Finding Nemo, according to Sai. So I feel really bad that Jessel had to deal with that, all because of Brynn. All because of Brynn trying to produce this show and make up fake stuff, thinking that it's like fun for the show. But it's like, why don't you make fake stuff up about yourself? Don't make it up about other people and their marriage, and then she has to deal with it. And then they kind of get into Uba and Brynn, like a separate issue, because we got a lot of issues between them. But it was earlier in the season when they were at the Hamptons. I like almost forgot. Like, you know how when they show the flashbacks of like the first couple episodes of the season, you're like, oh, that was this year? I thought that was last year. Like, it's because it seems so long ago. All I was like in the mindset of is this nightmare Puerto Rico trip, basically. But when they were staying in Erin's house in the Hamptons, and Uba was kind of like freaking out and like getting mad and raising her voice, Brynn was trying to say, oh, you know, you don't want to get mad and you don't want to be depicted as like an angry Black woman because then Oliver won't want to marry you. I mean, I don't understand. She's trying to defend saying that. And then she says, well, I identify as a Black woman, so I'm not being like racist. And it's like, well, of course you do at this moment. You're identifying as that. But I wonder if other moments in life is if you identify as that. Like, I feel like since she said that about Uba, she's like, well, you can't get mad at me because I'm Black too. It's like, I don't know. It's just to be like real bluntly honest, Brynn does not look like she is a woman of color. So people walking down the street, if you're going to say that people are going to judge you by the color of your skin, they're going to judge Uba differently than you because you don't even look Black. So I don't like that she's all of a sudden just trying to get on the same level and be like, well, don't get mad at me for saying that because I'm Black too. I mean, no one is buying her BS at all. including me, probably including Andy, to be honest, because when they all go for their break, all the women like powwow real quick about Brynn, and then Brynn is all alone. And then they're kind of like, oh, she's all alone. So someone go talk to her. And Sai's probably thinking like, nope, don't care. I'm the last one. She's like, oh, I cannot be friends with that girl. And it's like, that's what I mean. If anyone kind of forgives Brynn, it's just going to be because they feel bad that she's crying. And then like maybe because they have to film the show again. But I don't know. I don't think there's really any going back from here for Brynn, to be honest. Rebecca Minkoff shows up looking like she hasn't washed her hair in about a week, or maybe possibly since they have left Puerto Rico, because it looked so dirty and scary. Maybe she has no time to shower because she has the 4 kids in her bed, but I don't know. Make time. Jenna takes one for the team though and goes and talks to Brynn during the break, and Brynn is just like crying. And this is when Sai says she's so performative. The waterworks, and she needs an Oscar. And honestly, I do think it's a lot of performative. Feel bad for her. Like what Jenna's trying to say to her is like, you need to say sorry and then like own up to something you did. Don't like just say sorry and be like, well, I'm only telling you sorry because I think that's what you want to hear. That's not exactly what she said, but I'm like summing it up and saying that. Because I do feel like Brynn barely even said sorry to Jessel. Or she didn't say, that was like really messed up. I said that, Jessel, I'm sorry. And then leave it at that. Like instead she was like, I was going through a lot. It's like, well, does that mean that you have to make something up and say it on camera? Like no one's doubting she was assaulted. And they say that later. Andy says, I don't think anyone out here is like doubting that you were assaulted. But it's like, we're all annoyed that you can't like own up to other stuff you said that has nothing to do with the assault. But then Rebecca joins the cast. Immediately they address the Nordstrom Rack comment from Brynn. And she's like, yeah, I'm waiting to go shopping with Brynn. Take her to Nordstrom Rack. Picked a really good bag out for her. So Brynn said she doesn't like that she feels Rebecca Minkoff came on the show to solely advertise her business. And then, excuse me, they show a clip. I don't remember. I think this was taken out because I don't remember it being in the actual airing of the show. They were on that helicopter. Her, Rebecca, and Sai, not Sai, it was Brynn, Jessel, and Rebecca. And she was like, yeah, our business went down by like 70% since COVID. So I thought like this would boost it up. Basically admitting she did come on the show to advertise her business, which like, whatever, good for you. At least she was just a friend of. I really don't think Rebecca did join to be an actual Real Housewives of New York. I just don't. But also kind of nothing wrong with just coming out and saying, yeah, I want to advertise my business. Good for you. And you had that business before the show. So go ahead, use it as advertisement. I think it's because Brynn just didn't like that Rebecca wasn't there to like play the game and like be all produced and scripted. And that's what I don't want though. Like Brynn is like, at that dinner that night at the Hamptons, she went, you just don't know what to say. She's like if someone says something like that to you, you should respond like this. And it's like, no, that's what the producers are for. You are not a producer. And I just hate it. But then they discuss Sai's hot mic moment when she did a podcast and she said Rebecca was boring. And then she's like, yeah, I mean, she's really nice. And she's like, but yeah, that means she's boring, which is true. Like I said, I don't think Rebecca was there to play the game. And that's fine. So what I was really shocked about though, because she technically came on the show as Erin's friend. And now Erin is sitting on the couch stuffed in that dress with her pregnant belly being like, I've learned that you're not nice. And I was really caught off guard by that. So then she was like, you were so offended that I was talking about me not understanding that you're Jewish and a Scientologist. Raising my hand. I don't understand either. And like Rebecca was mad about that. But it's like, first of all, if you come on this show, anything and everything is fair game for them to talk about, question about, everything. And it's like, obviously public knowledge that you're Jewish and a Scientologist. And she's like proud of it. So, and that's fine that she is. But the fact that she doesn't understand the ladies are going to have questions about it, especially because Erin is Jewish, because she said they like conflict. She said they're just two totally opposite things that she doesn't understand how she could be both. I don't understand how she is so gung-ho about saying Scientology is like wonderful and great. And she's like, it was made into like a mockery kind of, and you guys were accusing it of being a cult. Somebody actually wrote in and said, the Scientology thing, like, why are you promoting it? It's a cult. And I was like, yeah, it is. I mean, we've all seen documentaries. It is a cult. Look at kooky Tom Cruise, some of those kooky people in Hollywood. So it's like, yeah, Rebecca, that's kooky. And it makes no sense to me that you're celebrating and practicing Jewish faith, but then you're also going to be a Scientologist. It's literally one or the other because they are both religions. But then she said that on the show, but then on the reunion, she was like, not saying the same thing. She's like, no, Judaism is my religion and Scientology is, or maybe it was opposite. She was saying Judaism is my religion and Scientology is like my faith and beliefs, and I go off my social skills from Scientology. And then on the couch at the reunion, she's like, no, Scientology is a religion. And it's like, well, to me, you can't be two religions. You have to pick one or the other. Like, you're not going to go to the synagogue and leave early and then go get Holy Communion at your Catholic church. You're one or the other. I mean, you really are, like, hardcore. Like, you're not having a bat mitzvah and a communion. You're not doing both. Or a confirmation. I just said a communion. You know what I'm talking about, though. But I don't think we're even going to have to worry about Rebecca ever again, because I don't think we're going to see her, especially because she burned the one bridge with the one friend she had. So then they showed this like text message between Rebecca and Erin. So Rebecca was texting Erin about that whole prank and stuff. So Rebecca said, so that's how this goes, huh? Instead of joint and accepting responsibility and apologies to those upset for this, like I have done, you just took the opportunity. Weird abbreviation. Just like we can't call her Becky. It's Rebecca. To throw me right in front of the bus. So then Erin said, what kind of text is this? ? Separate text. Why can't you call and have a normal conversation? I have no idea what you're talking about. The prank was your idea, was it not? ? That's all I've said about it. I mean, I think what happened is that prank was Rebecca's idea because she's like, look, everyone thinks I'm so boring. Let's like spice me up a little bit. Didn't hit well for them. Definitely didn't hit well for the public, I think. And she was like mad and probably like, I'm not going down alone. Erin is with me on this. And then Brynn tried to like lie and say like, oh, I was in on the joke. It's like, no, you weren't. That's what I mean. Brynn is scary. Like, she actually believes her own lies at this point. It's really scary. It's quite frightening. But then Brynn said, it was hard to get to know you, to Rebecca, because you moved to Florida a week into us filming and you didn't even live in New York. And Rebecca was like, are you the location police? I do live in New York. What she probably does, what normal people do, is when they have money, go to Florida for the winter time because it's very cold up here. And then they come back. But I also don't understand. They have 4 kids. So that's like an old people thing, like the term snowbirds. So I really don't think she is like living in New York and living in Florida. Like, maybe they bought a place in Florida and they're going to like use it when they want. But I would also find it really bizarre that they hardcore moved all the way down to Florida and then she flew up to New York to do all that filming. No, that woman does not care that much about this show. And she still is in the fashion business, as much as Brynn would like to say her stuff is only at Nordstrom Rack. So I don't think she'd be leaving New York City. And she just did all that stuff for Wicked, which that's why she wanted to be on the show, to advertise that too. But fine. Like, it's like, whatever. I mean, she got glam to sit there for like 5 minutes. No one's really friends with her. So bye-bye. We're probably never going to see her again. So even if she did permanently move to Florida, doesn't matter now at this point. So Erin also felt that Rebecca wasn't there for her when her father passed away. That was really sad. And I'm sure it was really hard for Erin to watch those episodes back. And that's what she was saying. Like, when that episode came out, you didn't even text me, check on me. She's like, I sent you a poem. And she's like, oh, you sent me a poem. But I did see they flashed that text on the screen too. She sent her a poem, and then she said, thinking of you, this poem really hit me when someone close to me passed, and then put a bunch of X's. Why don't we put XOXO anymore? Is this because Gossip Girl ruined it for people? Like XOXO Gossip Girl. But like XXXXX, like, what are you doing? Just kisses? Isn't it supposed to be kisses and hugs? So you just sending kisses instead of kisses and hugs? That's kind of lesbianish. But then we dive really into the Puerto Rico trip. And Uba was like, I want to go back, Brynn, to never knowing who you were. Like, that's how hurt I was. I can't believe you lied. And then she's like, I saw what you texted Erin. She said her. I think she meant Erin, though. So apparently she texted them and said that Uba got physical with Brynn. And she's like, you are lying. I did not. So this was when like Uba was like freaking out. She's like, you lying bitch and stuff. And the cameras went back up. I didn't see her touch Brynn. But see, Brynn was saying that in case it was like off camera, like thinking, oh, now they'll feel bad for me because no one will ever know because the cameras weren't up yet if she did or did not put her hands on me. It's just like the amount of lies that came out of Brynn. Like, if this was Pinocchio, her nose would have stretched all the way down to Florida, where Rebecca Minkoff apparently has moved to. And I don't know. I mean, it got really dark, and then Brynn was like, this is too much. And it's like, yeah, it's too much for everyone else to deal with. You started it all, crazy pants. And then they kind of take another little break, and Uba like hugs her. And she's like, it's going to take me a long time. And I was shocked. Uba went back on her word because she was like, I don't ever want to talk to you again. I don't want to know you. And then she was like, it's going to take me a long time, but you need to go apologize to the girls. Then it's like we kind of left where like Brynn did say sorry to everyone. Sai isn't having it though. Good for Sai. Don't be fake. Like, don't pretend to forgive her so you guys can all get a contract for next season and then hate her. Who knows if any of you people are getting a contract, because consensus as a whole, no one likes the remake of New York. And quite frankly, like I said before, I had to just keep watching it because it's like when you start watching a movie, or like you buy tickets to the movie theater, are you really going to leave in the middle? I mean, maybe if you're like scared to death peeing your pants, you're going to leave. But if you just think it kind of sucks, no, you're going to stay, just ride it out and see how it ends. That's how I felt about this season of New York. Had to just ride it out because I'm like, you know what? I already watched season 1. I now kind of want to watch season 2 just to see where everyone's at. And I need to stay in it just to see what that fight was in Puerto Rico. And to be honest, it like wasn't even that bad. I mean, that is bad. Don't get me wrong. But like, I don't know. I just thought there was going to be more. I really did think maybe they're going to get into a fist fight. And that's why it was so crazy and chaotic. But I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with the OGs. I hope they bring back the OGs. See, what happened is they fired some of the OGs. Then they put new people on that ruined and corrupted the show. Ebony and what was that other girl? See, I don't even remember. The one that was on the Reality Reckoning. Leah. Ebony and Leah. They ruined the show. Again, because they're not friends with anyone that was on the cast. Like, why are we getting rid of Sonia? Why are we getting rid of Luann? Why are we getting rid of Ramona? Why are we getting rid of these TV gold people? I don't remember if Bethany quit or they got rid of her back in the day. Pretty sure they got rid of Jill because I feel like she was begging to come back and be on that girls' trip. But now she has moved to Florida. I say we do like a Real Housewives of Boca, because Jill lives down there. Ramona has a place down there. That's where my friend lives, so I can make an appearance maybe. But I mean, it's just like, I think that would be good. Like, we have Miami, but like Miami's just different. I think we should do like a Palm Beach or a Boca Housewives. Like, what does everybody think? I think it should replace New York, basically. But we need to get rid of these people and get the OGs back. That is where I'm going to close the book on New York. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to recap Beverly Hills. To all my listeners out there, it's not just the Bravo celebrities that want to look beautiful. We do too. Head on over to Studio One Salon for the most amazing extensions, cut, color, or even just a nice shampoo and blowout. Or when you go out with all your friends to talk about all the latest Bravo tea. Use my code BRAVOT with a stay-at-home mom to enjoy 10% off. And we're back. And I have to say, this episode of Beverly Hills having me cracking up. And this is what I like, the balance. This is why New York didn't work. There was no actual friendships, actual relationships, actual past between these people. We're having drama on the show, but also funny. Like, these people are funny. I mean, just the little sayings they have and everything, or just them doing something that's just funny. But at the beginning, it was not funny. No laughs, very sad. They show a little montage of Dorit and PK, the ups, like, oh, bubba bubbleish, love you. And then he's like, Jaggy, doesn't mommy look beautiful? Oh, you look stunning, Dorit, stunning. And I'm butchering his accent, I know. Then they show where they are now, the fallout, the ugliness, the I don't understand your PTSD. I don't like how you are acting so high maintenance. He said, which I do have to agree. He said that Dorit has gotten so much more high maintenance than when he first met her. And I can see that, and I do understand that. Like, at the end of the day, I'm sure PK realizes a little bit in the back of his brain that Dorit got with him at the beginning or was attracted to him because of the money. Like, he's not stupid. But then it's like, I really do think they loved each other, but the need for her, like, wanting to keep up with the Joneses and being like outrageous, like glam every day, like 3 nannies, like runway Chanel outfits to go to the grocery store, like, relax. Okay. Like, that's why Kyle and Maurizio, I feel like, have a lot of money because she keeps it real. I mean, they show at the very beginning, she's washing her own dog. I mean, they're worth like $80 million together as a couple, possibly more now. And she's washing her own damn dog. She can't take it to Vanderpump Dogs anymore. She's not wanted there. But I mean, talk about low maintenance. Like, Kyle obviously has like every Birkin in every color, but she also, I feels like, goes to Costco. Do you know what I mean? Like, she has good balance. And I feel that would be me. Even if I had like a ton of money, I would still want to do some things myself because I feel like the Kardashians like don't even leave their house. And I guess I understand because of like paparazzi things, but it's like I would want to go to the store still. Like, Kylie on that one episode was like, let's just go to the grocery store. I haven't been there in like years. It's like, what? Where do you go? Like, that is sad, actually. Like, they may have all the money in the world, but if I couldn't still go to the grocery store at least, like, I think I'd go crazy. So I feel like I'd be like Kyle, like doing, you know, being glam, but then also keeping it real. Like, when they even go to these events, Kyle doesn't even pay for glam. Like, Dorit pays for glam for them to film like a picnic outside where they'll probably sweat all the makeup off. So it's just like, I understand when PK's making that comment. I totally do get that. But Kathy is also literally getting a vitamin drip and getting her makeup done again. If this is a daily activity for her, I love that. And I want to be Kathy Hilton. Then Erika's getting her bill from that designer, and it's $37,000. So I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but he's basically redoing her whole house and that little outside house. And I'm assuming this is paying for like the furniture and everything. Like, so with all the furniture, with the labor, and they're obviously like going to paint and stuff like that. So we're going to say material, labor, and then his design services. I actually thought it was going to be more dead serious because I said I didn't think he was going to give her like a discount for being on the show because he's very famous and popular and doesn't really need that. But I take that back because $37,000 actually sounds too low for getting a full makeover of a house with everything. Because, like, you know, him and his lip filler isn't putting furniture together and painting the wall. He's going to have a crew there. So, like, they need to be paid. It's just very interesting. Maybe he waived his fee, which is kind of surprising to me if he's doing the Kardashians and stuff like that. And I mean, I've heard of him before. So it's like he really didn't need the show. But I don't know. Maybe everybody always needs that little bit of advertisement. So Sutton is having Garcelle over and she's asking her if she wants to come to Augusta with her to meet her mother. And then they FaceTime Kyle and they want her to come as well. And Sutton just has like a weird rocky relationship with her mom. She feels like she's not proud of her. And I forgot that we actually saw the mom before. So they do like a flashback. And it was like when she opened her store and she's like hysterically crying with the mom. And she's like, I just want you to be proud of me. Like, you never say anything and you need to understand that I need that from you. And then the mom's like, okay. I'm like, damn, cold heart. Like, all I was thinking of is that Foreigner song, like, you're as cold as ice, like with the piano, like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh my God, that's Sutton's mom. Like, cold as ice, doesn't shed a tear. Her whole family could be like murdered in front of her, and I'd like to know if the woman would cry. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And unbelievable that I totally forgot about that. But then Bose goes over to Dorit's, and Dorit has 2 golden doodles, and she is just my people. Their names are like Winnie and Pumpkin. So cute. And as per golden doodle modeling, they are just laying on Dorit on the couch, getting their camera time. I love that. So she texts PK and she said that they need to get on like a friendly level for the kids because of what Jaggy said on the walk, like about them being friends or if they're getting divorced, and didn't even hear back from him. A whole day goes by. So then she texts him because we all know you're looking at your phone. You are. You just are. There's like hours, excusable. But a whole entire day, 24 hours, and you got kids? No. So she texted him and said, really, PK? Really, PK? And he said, I'm at a friend's wedding. Have a nice day. That's all he said. He didn't even answer the original question. Gloves are off. She better just go file for divorce, honestly. I made a funny reel today. I posted on my Instagram and TikTok, and it is like a movie. I don't know if everyone's seen it that's listening. So it's called War of the Roses, and it's with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. It's an old movie, and Danny DeVito. And they're going through a horrible divorce. And Danny DeVito is like the lawyer, and he's kind of like narrating it, but then like he's telling a couple about it, but then it like flashes to just the movie being played out, and it's about their marriage and the demise of it. And I did the scene where she gets this giant lifted pickup truck and runs over his like old weird car that like he's like obsessed with. And I put above the title, Dorit going to war with PK, because this is war, and we'll get into it at the end when they talk about it a little more. But he's not being nice. And you know what? If you're not going to be nice to me, I'm not going to be nice to you. But if you're going to be nice to me, I'll be nice to you. So it's like one person sets the tone for how the divorce is going to go. And I'm telling you, he is not setting the tone very nice. And it's actually crazy to me because, yes, we do not live in their house and see everything. But it sounds like Dorit put up with a lot of shit. So we'll talk about that more at the end. But then Kyle and Maurizio meet at a shooting range, and she wants to maybe get a gun to protect herself and all those 500 Birkins that she has because she's living by herself. So she asked how his condo is coming along, and he said, good. He said he has eggs in his refrigerator and he eats canned soup. It sounds like he's at a homeless shelter, not like a palatial condo. And honestly, he has so much money that it's like, if you don't know how to cook, just go out every night. Just buy a salad at Erewhon at this point. I mean, don't be eating Campbell's canned soup and having a heart attack because your sodium and cholesterol level is like out the window. But she said she's just sad at their house because he's in a new place. So that's like different than her being at their house where they were together and then him leaving. And I get that, and I do agree with that. But then he goes in for like a hug, and she like doesn't hug back. And I can't wrap my brain around what happened besides infidelity or him having like a secret child. She says there was no infidelity, but you are not that distraughtly upset and ruin your life in the middle of your life like that over something silly. You just don't. And I'm not saying it's silly, but I can get over a lot of things except infidelity probably, so I'm just really trying to wonder what it is because I think Kyle could get over a lot of things too, but not infidelity or a love child. But the ladies that are selected to go to Augusta arrive at Sutton's house. It's beautiful. For a second, I was like, oh, where are they? And then she was like, oh, this is my house. I'm like, my other house. Um, they flew commercial though. I mean, come on, Sutton. You get $330,000 a month. You could have gotten a flight and or told Garcelle and Kyle to chip in for it, God forbid. So they took like a commercial flight, but we're at least in like a private VIP terminal, which was like so fancy at LAX. It literally looked like a living room and a dining room. It was very fancy. But then Sutton's mother, Reba, comes in like a wrecking ball, bat out of hell. She could literally be a housewife, literally. She's pretty cutthroat. She lives on the property, kind of like in the backyard, and they do like a little tour. Garcelle brings her a nice scarf. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. She is not using, I feel like, Southern manners that I would think she would raise her kids with, like, even if you get a gift you don't like, we always say our thank yous to everybody. She is just like, oh, if I was skinny, I could wear this as a sarong. It's like, okay. And then Garcelle said to her, oh, so I love Sutton's kids. Your grandkids are so wonderful, and Sutton does a great job raising them. And she went, yeah, they're wonderful, but James is he's a little weird. And then Garcelle went, oh, I have a weird one too. Like trying to like, I don't know, make it not weird. And then her mom goes, oh, I know, I've seen. It's like Kyle has this like weird, awkward smile on her face. And she's like in the confessional, like, at this point, should I say I have a weird kid too? She's like, it's so awkward. I mean, Sutton's mom is having no BS, but that's why she would be great on TV permanently, honestly. Can you imagine her and Kathy Hilton? Oh my God, that would be amazing. But back in Bel Air, speaking of Kathy Hilton, she's hosting a Capri party because that's where she just came from. And all I could think of is Jesse from the Valley. Remember when he was like, every summer, me and Michelle, we summer in Capri. We're having a Capri themed meal. And oh my God, I wanted to like throw him off a ledge in Capri for saying it like that. I mean, I understand that's technically the real way to say it, but like it was so annoying when he was saying it. But Erika doesn't really understand why she's not invited to the Augusta trip because she is from the South. She's like 90 miles up from where Sutton lives. And Kathy said she really doesn't know why she wasn't invited because she's probably thinking, I'm the queen of Bel Air. Why was I not included? But they are finding out. Kathy just came from Italy. She said that she is actually part Chinese from 3000 BC. You just don't know what's going to come out of this woman's mouth, and God, gotta love her for it. But Sutton takes Garcelle and Kyle to Luigi's, this like Italian staple in her town. They kind of talk about Reba. And then this is where they show the flashback of her at the store, her having that awkward conversation. Garcelle said she's going to take one for the team and talk to Reba about what Sutton is missing from the relationship. And it's like, good luck. You'll probably be buried in the backyard next to her house that's behind Sutton's house. But then back at the Capri dinner, Bose dives right in and says to Kathy that she feels Kyle has been a little cold to her since she met. And then Kathy's just trying to explain that Kyle's like going through a lot and she shuts off sometimes instead of like being very expressive. And this is like a lot for her to navigate and emotionally deal with Maurizio. And Dorit asks if she's talked to Kyle about everything she's going through. And Dorit said she's going through a shit time. And then Kathy called him PJ instead of PK. She's like, well, about PJ. And it's like, who's that? Kathy, we're talking about PK. And she said, I feel like he's a good father. And Dorit said, no. Dorit's coming out. And this is going to be an ugly divorce. But it's like I said at the beginning, he set the tone. So she's not being no more Mr. Nice Guy. What she said a long time ago, she would have lied and said yes. And what she said is because I know that's a mean statement to say. And I know she's probably mainly saying it because she's upset with him. But this is what PK does, which is unexcusable when you're an adult that has children. He will leave for weeks at a time and not contact his children. I understand if you don't want to talk to Dorit. I bet Jagger does have a cell phone. He is 10. You at least call Dorit to talk to your children. There are no excuses. If you want to be a parent, that's what you do. And it's really ironic because he's hitting her with the 7-page email about finances and custody. What custody do you think you're going to get when you leave for weeks at a time? And now that you've set the tone for a nasty separation, lawyers, and divorce, don't think Dorit isn't going to mention that to her lawyer. Oh, he just up and abandons. These are the words the lawyers will use. Abandons us, abandons the children, cuts off communication. That's not going to go well in court. So PK, I just still can't get over Kathy called him PJ. That was so funny. And then if that wasn't bad enough, Kathy said, how old is PK? And Dorit said he's 56. And Kathy's response is, oh, when I met him, I thought he was 56 and I've known him for a long time. Bose said, that is the smoothest shade she has ever heard in her life. Kathy takes no prisoners. And see how she kind of tried to make that like not mean, but it was mean. Like, oh, I thought he was 56. Like, oh, my mistake. But I've known him for a really long time. Meaning like, you look old. You look old. So Dorit is explaining the 7-page email about the finances, custody, lawyers. She said in the email, it's saying that she would assume the house, like the mortgage and all the bills associated with it in a month or two, take over everything. And Erika said in her confessional, this is when the gloves come off. Nobody has a nice divorce that I know of unless the guy dies. And it's true. And then Dorit said, I found this all out of nowhere and just crazy. And then I discovered that in the state of California, if you're married for 10 years, that when you get divorced, everything is communal property. So everything is just divided equally. And then you get spousal support for the rest of your life. That's interesting. So in Delaware, for example, I'm not sure about the communal property, but spousal support is awarded for half of the term of your marriage. So let's say they make it to the 10-year mark. Dorit in Delaware would be awarded 5 years of spousal support, unless you get married before it's up. But we all know nobody does that. Everyone waits till like the day it expires and then they get married. So he's trying to expedite and hurry this all up because they've been married for 9.5 years. So he is trying to rush to get this done before the 10-year mark hits. That is some foul, messed up stuff. And I think it's 2 reasons. I think PK thinks Dorit doesn't deserve anything and just wants her to start earning her own keep. And then I think he doesn't have any money. So if the court if they make it to the 10 years, say you need to give her half of all your assets and then you need to give her spousal support forever, he probably doesn't have any money. I really do think they have money problems. So like, I don't know. Gloves are off though. Erika said you need to be proactive. You need to do everything I didn't do. And I wish I did. I wish I acted smarter and didn't wait till the last minute. And then she's like, well, what if I want to like wait to see if I really want to leave? And they were like, he doesn't want you. Like he is literally saying like he wants to get divorced. Like, and I feel bad. It's like, it's because Dorit knows if she sends like an email, then it's done because he's already sent the email. But that's what I mean. He's already sent it. So you got to answer. You got to be proactive. I agree. And then Bose is like, you got to be smart. And she's a businesswoman. She said she's learned from being in business. Like you got to be you got to look out for yourself, basically. Like nobody has your back sometimes till the end of the day. So I don't know. Like still to this day, I don't know if they've actually filed for divorce. So when this show was filmed, they were at 9.5 years. I'd imagine they're like at 10 years by now. So I don't know. I'm going to save the Bravo tea that I have because my best friend is flying in from Florida. I'm so excited. She's going to be here for like a long weekend visiting. So we're going to do a little podcast while she's here. We'll talk about some of the hot topics because I'll just quickly read the line of headlines. Madison is expecting her first baby with Brett. So we'll talk about that. After I did my podcast the other day, Paige actually said she broke up with Craig all the way back in Thanksgiving so we can all get off her back. There was no cheating. There was no rushing into relationships. And she said she's single. And what was the other one? Oh, Lindsay Hubbard is a single lady with a baby. So we'll get into all of this tea for the next episode where I discuss it with my BFF. And I hope everyone has a good weekend. This is going to be my last podcast until like next week because I'm going to enjoy the weekend. So I hope everyone listens to this over the weekend, enjoys themselves, and braces themselves for the hot tea on the next episode.
Got that vibe, makes them come alive. You're so picture perfect. Yeah, you walk that walk, watch the Moscow clock. You're so picture perfect.